Okay, so a little more on using the update operator in Mongo. Cover a few more things. Specifically, I want to talk about multi-doc updating and upserts. So just to recall, our general format for an update function call in the shell is db.collection. So we have collection name, our where expression or query expression to match, the object, the new copy of the object to update, or the various mutations to perform on it via $ operators, a boolean upsert true or false, and a boolean multi true or false. So these both default to false and are optional parameters in the shell. So that's the default. All right, so let's talk about a case where we actually set this to true. Okay. So if you recall with remove, when you do a remove operation, it will operate against the entire collection. It will remove whatever number of documents are matched, right? So that's a multi-document operation on the collection, right? We're not operating on a single document. We're operating on a bunch. With update, we can do the same thing. However, we need to explicitly say true here when we want to do that. So give you an example. Okay, so in this example, suppose we have a users collection. We're going to do an update. So where for all the users who have active equals true, we're going to increment the priority field's value by 1. And we want to do that for all documents which have active equals true. So we're going to pass true for the multi-parameter. So if we did not pass this parameter as true, if we passed false or we just left these optional parameters off entirely, what would happen is that only the first matching document with active equals true would be updated. And one might ask then, well, why does this exist? Why isn't multi always true? And I think the original thinking was that imagine if you know there's only going to be one matching item, right? So consider something like, okay, so a slightly contrived example, but suppose in orders collection where order ID equals this, we wanted to do this, right? Well, we might know that there's only one order that has this value, right? Maybe this is supposed to be unique. So in that case, if you imagine there was not an index on order ID, if we were scanning for this value, once we found it, we could then stop if multi is false. If multi were true, we'd have to continue on until we reach the end of the collection. So that was the original idea with multi-false, which, you know, in this particular example, we would allegedly do. Now, it turns out in practice that you would probably have an index on order ID here, right? So in that case, we're going to kind of find this value, this key right away, and it's not terribly expensive to check that the next key is actually not the same value anymore. All right, so I think there's an argument that this whole notion should go away. There's a counter argument too, although I'm not sure it's super strong. But regardless, for legacy reasons, we have this multi-notion on update, at least in the shell. I could imagine some drivers just passing multi-true, for example, in their implementation and not giving the option in theory. But in the shell, we have this. So you'll generally want to pass true for multi when you're doing updates, especially when you know you're going to do multiple document updates. Another reason this multi could be useful would be just to avoid mistakes and accidentally updating many documents when one intended to do one. I think that argument also has some limits to it. So anyway, pass multi-true when doing multiple document updating.